Retirement, a word that's carried radically different connotations over time, and there's no denying that as we enter the fourth industrial revolution, there are deep concerns about employee retention and planning for a future after work. Focusing on benefits in the US and transforming pensions in the UK, Aptia Group is leading the charge in this crucial sector.
Government's played an extremely important role, Andrew, and I think the single biggest and most important piece of legislation has probably been auto-enrollment in the UK, where everybody was forced to opt out as opposed to opt in, and that has brought in a number of new savers for retirement.
Today we're joined by Bala Viswanathan, founder and group CEO, and Jeff Williams, president and CEO of Aptia USA, to explore their vision of all our futures. Bala, Jeff, great to see you. Thanks very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you, Andrew, for having us here.
Let's start off with a bit of background about Aptia. Tell us about what it does, what its mission is, and its key areas of focus, both in the UK and the US.
Aptia, Andrew, is a new force in pensions, health and benefits, and retirement solutions industry. We support some 1,100 clients, 7 million members, both in the UK and the US put together. And we've been operating actually in this business for well over 35 years, although we are only 1 year old. We operate with people with deep subject matter expertise, and we support them with intuitive technology. So a combination of skilled people, specialist people with deep-seated technical knowledge. And our belief is that at that intersection, you get that right. You're able to deliver much better outcomes for clients. And our mission is about, in a very, very complex world of health and benefits and retirements and pensions, we try to bring clarity to the complexity that is there. Our net promoter score in the US is well north of 70. Our net promoter score in the UK is around 65, both of which are leading the market by some 30 points at this point in time. So we are well ahead of where the industry is. And that's because we're able to focus on the members, on the employees, and make sure that we're able to deliver the right outcomes.
This is baby boomer time now, isn't it? I mean, this is when retirement is a really hot topic, and stuff is coming home to roost, and people are starting to wonder if they did the right thing and made the right decisions, and others are looking at them to see how it goes. All that plays into the story of today. Where do the challenges lie for the kind of work that you're doing, Jeff?
I think you hit it. I think it's an American population, and talk about the US, that has the confidence in their benefit programs. So today, you got about half the population who can't come up with $500 in an emergency this week. And you have just generally workers who are struggling with the choices between how much to contribute to their benefits versus how much to contribute to their mortgage versus how much to pay off their student loans. And they're struggling. They're struggling with, how do I navigate all of that affordability challenge in an environment where prices are just going up almost double digits? So Aptia's role in all of that is to really try and demystify benefits for participants, and to give them the confidence to make the right choices in the health plans available to them, to capitalize as best they can on the affordability that they have, to give them the peace of mind to get the right care for themselves and their families. We take this mission of giving our clients and our people peace of mind very seriously. And we're operating kind of at this intersection of tech and talent, where we have these enabling systems that allow us to ensure we have perfect accuracy, but perfect accuracy is only great if the person on the other end of the web or on the phone call really understands it. So we demystify that, make those choices simple to understand, and hopefully at the end give them the confidence to make the best possible choices for themselves and their family.
I mean, I can see you're deploying AI technology as much as you can. You're looking at personalized solutions. So there's a particular strategy, a protocol that you're developing or have developed at Aptia. Give me an idea about how that works and what you're trying to achieve, and also perhaps a sort of a personal example of how Joe Smith, normal employee in the United States or even the UK, would benefit from exposure or working with Aptia.
you've got this very complicated set of plan documents, that have very, very rich detail and all sorts of terms and conditions that are almost indecipherable for most people. I'm in the business and they're hard for me to understand. So we can use AI to do things like simplify that into a consumable benefits guide for an employee. We're making these tools easier to understand and more accessible through the use of artificial intelligence.
And briefly, before we move on, I mean, does that make applying for medical care and stuff easier and more personalized? Because quite often those are rather blunt questions that people do on medical insurance, particularly, where have you in the last 2 years seen a doctor for the following things? It could have turned out to be nothing, but the answer yes excludes you from that policy.
Absolutely. So if you think about the enrollment experience, we're giving those participants decision support tools. So we know what you've done historically, and we ask you some questions about what we think your future might look like. And all of that is getting poured into the artificial intelligence that's going to give you the best possible choices for your situation. Some companies have several dozen benefit options available. Some of which are included, but some of which are buy-up. So what's best for that individual and their family? We're getting to know them through our time together and serving them, along with some really robust decision support capability to present them with the best possible choices, again, to give them the confidence that they're making the right choice based on what they can afford and what's going to give them the most impact for their benefits.
What's also happened is that the world is also in some ways become a little more open as compared to what it was before. So there's open banking, for example, that is available today. There are registries that are available where you can actually go and look at public records. So for example, something like even as simple as a change of name or a change of address used to be so complex. It used to take 10, 15 days to get your new address, sorted, and, multiple letters going back and forth in public records that needed to be sent over, people sending passports to you, worrying that it might get lost and so on and so forth. So all of that has just gone away today, right? So there is a public record called LexisNexis that is available in the UK. So somebody comes into a website and says that, hey, I've changed or I'm planning to move a house. They come in, give us their national insurance number so that we're able to validate who they are. They give their new address. We're able to go to the public record, see what their old address was, and does it match with the records that we have, what the new address is. And we're able to make that transaction happen seamlessly, right? So in 10 seconds, you're able to get a transaction done, what used to take 15 days. So we use an open banking gateway that HSBC offers in the UK today, where you're able to validate the name on the bank account and the bank account number. So when somebody comes in and says that, hey, this is who I am, this is my bank account, can you please make the change? Rather than asking them for the bank records and letters from the bank and so on and so forth, you're now able to use that gateway that is available, go straight into the account and see what the name on the account is and whether that name matches the name of the member. If the two matches, transaction is done. 10 seconds, right? As compared to 10, 15 days.
I mean, what is all this telling us about how we're shaping the future of work and the future of planning for employment and the choices that people are going to make, the 19 and 20-year-olds that are just coming into the workplace now?
So I think we are entering a particularly challenging period. And I think the fact is that the current generation will probably earn less than the previous generation. And it's something that has changed over the course of the last 10, 15 years, where we've seen in the world that there's been a constant improvement in terms of living standards. And suddenly we're starting to see a situation where the current generation is probably going to earn less than what the previous generation was. So one of the choices that we have and one of the obligations that we have is to try and provide a level playing field. We somehow try and bring financial equivalence across the various generations that we have. And that requires careful planning. And that means that we've got to bring two sets of capabilities together. We've got to get technology, and that's where we believe so much in terms of AI, data-driven insights, but it doesn't stop there. What we also need to do is to have experts that are able to guide them. That human touch, you just can't afford to ignore it. So you've got to keep investing in the people and making sure that you've got the best people working for you so that they're able to guide our members, our clients, and their employees to the right outcomes using intuitive technology that is available as well. So you bring in technology, you bring best people, you bring them together and make sure you have the right outcomes.
I mean, Jeff, the cliche has been, hasn't it, that this is some sort of a time bomb that we're looking at. The press love that phrase, people understand it and so on. But do you feel you're working against time? Do you feel that that the pressure is on you to start coming up with solutions as time goes on?
We're trying to navigate 5 generations in the workforce. You've got an employer who largely wants to do the best possible thing they can for their employees, but they've got such fragmentation. We try and come alongside them and say, yes, at retiree age, give them the guidance they need to bridge to retirement. If they're in their 50s, you've got this triple threat generation. They're trying to take care of their parents, themselves, their kids. How do they make those best choices? And then for people newer in the workforce, how do we give them the flexibility they need to get access to mental health, early stage life savings, and some of the more consumer type benefits that they're looking for?
Okay, and there's so much to talk about. I want to cover a couple more things. Keeping your employers, keeping staff, valued staff. There's an element of that in this, isn't there?
Absolutely. Let's face it. One of the biggest challenges that we have today is attracting and retaining employees, and that's a challenge that every organization today faces. So, particularly with the fact that you've got gig economy going and growing very rapidly, you've got work from home happening. So, how do you, in this environment where people are demanding flexibility, freedom, how do you ensure that you're able to attract and retain the people? And our belief has been that there are 2 things that really drive it. One, a sense of ownership and giving them a purpose in terms of what they're looking to do. Everybody at Aptia is a shareholder. We made sure to make sure that everybody feels that they are an owner in the organization. We've given everybody, all 3,500 staff at Aptia, a share in the organization. So they benefit from the success that we enjoy. The obligation that they have, the responsibility that they have on the back of that benefit is that we want them to think and feel and act like owners. We deal with people at the most critical junctures in their life. And for us, that's what we need to look. So our purpose is to actually make a difference.
So final thought then, Jeff. Can we, looking through Aptia's lens, afford to be optimistic about our futures?
I believe that largely American employers have the right aims at heart. I work with a wide range of companies across a wide range of industries who really want to do right by their people, and I think the future is really bright. Do we have our challenges? Absolutely, but I think we have a platform in the U.S. To do better.
I think there is a lot of positivity out there. There is a significant number of challenges that are there in front of us. I think the employers that are there, the firms that are there, all want right outcomes. What they're faced with is a set of challenges in terms of cost, in terms of regulation, and in terms of constant changes that is happening around them and the volatility that's. So how are we able to help them land all of that and ensure that we have the right outcomes is the big focus for us. So we're driving really hard in terms of making sure that everybody benefits from what we're doing here at Aptia, bringing people, bringing technology together and going out there, delivering a better outcome and talking about it loudly to make sure that everybody understands that there is a choice for them. And the right choice is really Aptia.
Loud and clear. Gentlemen, thanks very much. Pleasure talking to you both.
Thank you, Andrew. Really appreciate the time.
Thank you, Andrew.
There's no doubting the challenges ahead in the world of work, but it remains the backbone of the global economy and needs to be tackled. Aptia Group looks well positioned to make inroads with the tasks it set itself, leveraging advanced technology, looking for impactful solutions, and most important, offering tangible alternatives to aging systems. Systems that everyone knows are ill-equipped to see us through this 4th industrial revolution.